Beyond the Gates spoilers for Tuesday, June 24th tease that a gentle stillness has settled over the grand corridors of the Navarro estate, but beneath its surface, currents of longing, loyalty, and latent danger surge like hidden rivers ready to break their banks. In the early dusk, as the lavender-hued sky stretches across the manicured lawns, Catherine "Cat" Richardson moves with purposeful stealth toward the door of her half-sister's hotel suite. Though her heart pounds with anticipation, each footstep is measured. Every breath-controlled Cat has never been one to rush headlong into desire. All her life, she has watched the world from a cautious distance, reluctant to risk her carefully constructed armor. Yet tonight, emboldened by the soft glow of possibility and the promise of something entirely new, she will abandon her reservation and stake her claim on the affection she has long yearned to share. Cat pauses at the threshold, hand hovering over the polished brass handle. Memories flicker across her mind, fragments of childhood afternoons spent poring over mystery novels, her mother's gentle smile when Cat confided secret ambitions, the pained look in her own reflection when love seemed reserved for others. Now, with the evidence she stole from Eva's safe documents implicating Laura Peterson's disappearance, Cat possesses power she never imagined. But this heist was not born solely of vengeance. Beneath the veneer of righteous anger lies a tender hope, to protect Tomas Navarro and gift him a future unmarred by the shadows that perpetually stalk their family name. Inside the suite, Tomas hovers by the window, broad shoulders taut in the soft lamplight. His dark eyes search the horizon for signs of Cat, even though he knows this clandestine meeting is Cat's doing alone. He straightens his tie, brushes a lock of hair from his forehead, and wonders if tonight will mark a turning point. He has waited patiently for Cat to cross the threshold between friendship and something more, but she has always kept him at an arm's length, wrapped in polite conversation and subtle flirtations that flit away like butterflies at dawn. For months, he has imagined the moment when Cat's reserve will crumble, when her laughter will ring with unguarded delight, and when their shared glances will confess what words cannot. Unbeknownst to Tomas, Cat slips inside, silent as a shadow, closing the door with the softest click. She crouches beneath the beta position that feels both absurd and symbolic, a testament to the lengths she will go to protect her secret. Eva, clothed in an emerald silk robe, moves toward Tomas with predatory grace, her lips curving into a mischievous smile. Cat's pulse quickens as Eva reaches for Tomas's arm, leaning in as if to steal a kiss. In that instant, Cat believes her heart will fracture at witnessing the very betrayal she fought so hard to prevent. Yet Tomas recoils subtly, stepping back and straightening his posture. His voice, low and resolute, stops Eva's advance. "I care about Cat," he says, each syllable etched with conviction. "I want something real with her. With you, Eva, I'm only ever your friend." Eva's smile falters, surprise and a flicker of wounded pride flashing across her lips as she realizes her ruse has misfired. Cat, concealed below, allows herself a trembling sigh of relief. Tomas's declaration shatters the last barrier between them, and though she remains hidden, Cat's eyes glisten with unshed tears of joy. The moment is charged with revelation. Tomas has chosen Cat, and in doing so, acknowledges the depth of her worth. When Eva retreats in silence, annoyance brushing her features, Cat emerges from beneath the bed like a creature born of moonlight, vulnerable, radiant, and irrevocably changed. Tomas turns, breath catching at the sight of her wide eyes reflecting equal parts astonishment and desire. He steps forward, hesitates, then reaches out to brush a stray curl from her temple. In that gentle gesture resides a world of promise. Cat's defenses crumble entirely. She leans into his palm, eyes closing as she welcomes the warmth he offers. The distance between them vanishes, and they stand on the cusp of an intimate threshold that neither has dared to cross until now. Their first kiss is tentative, featherlight, as if testing the waters of this new territory. But when Tomas's fingers weave through Kat's hair and she responds with a fervent tilt of her head, the moment ignites into something feral and electric. Neither speaks. Words would dilute the purity of their union. Beneath that hotel room's soft glow, they become two halves fused in a delicate harmony of breath and beating hearts. Hours pass in a blur of whispered endearments, trembling caresses, and confessions too long restrained. When at last they part, they do so only to catch their breath, foreheads pressed together, smiles trembling with unspoken wonder. Meanwhile, far from the hush of that suite, another storm brews in the corridors of power. Jacob Hawthorne paces the polished marble floor of the town police station, each echo of his footsteps a reminder of the pressure tightening around his family's name. His father, Elon Hawthorne, stands as a paragon of law enforcement, a sheriff whose every decision has been lauded, whose career gleams with unblemished honor. Jacob remembers watching his father don his uniform as a child, the star-shaped badge pressed over his heart like an emblem of unwavering justice. Now, at 22, Jacob reflects that image back at his own chest and wonders if that mirror will one day shatter. Tonight, Bradley Smitty Smith, an investigative journalist with a penchant for digging beneath the polished surface of small-town respectability, publishes the first in a series of articles on Detective Marcel Malone. Smitty's prose is incisive, laced with insinuations of misconduct and whispers of a cover-up. Jacob read the preview this afternoon and felt bile rise in his throat. If these allegations stick, the glittering facade of his father's perfect career will crack, exposing truths he cannot even begin to fathom. He enters Elon's office without knocking, heart heavy, voice tremulous. "Dad, have you seen the article?" Jacob's desperation hangs in the air like a lead weight. Elon's expression tightens, the lines at his temples deepening. He sets aside the case files he was reviewing and motions for Jacob to sit. "I know," he says quietly, as though the walls themselves are listening. Smitty's playing a dangerous game. Jacob watches his father's hand strong, steady curl into fists. "Marcel and I both have reputations to protect. But there are things about Martin Richardson's disappearance that were handled differently. We thought it best to keep them contained. Now, Smitty's claws are digging in, and if he uncovers what we've concealed well, it'll destroy everything." Jacob's stomach lurches. Martin Richardson Cat and Eva's father, whose name carries its own tangled legacy of tragedy and sorrow. Elon's involvement in that case had always seemed above reproach, an unshakable investigator who brought clarity to chaos. But now Jacob realizes that reputation was paid for with secrets better left buried. He had idolized his father's moral certainty. Now he wonders if that certainty was always conditional. What if he finds out about the agreement with Vernon Dupree? Jacob ventures, voice barely above a whisper. Elon's gaze hardens, and Jacob realizes he has touched a forbidden chord. "Don't speak his name," Elon warns, low and warning. He stands, pacing before the window. "Dupree was with someone we thought we could trust to keep a lid on things. But if Vernon is the mastermind, aided by Bill Hamilton, Jacob, you must understand, some truths, once unearthed, cannot be reburied." Jacob feels the world tilt beneath his feet. Bill Hamilton, the mild-mannered town councilman married to Naomi Hawthorne, Elon's wife and Jacob's mother. If Bill has been complicit in masking Martin's fate, then the very foundation of Jacob's family life could crumble. Naomi, whose laughter Jacob remembered brightening every holiday dinner, Bill, whose kindness he had admired. Could those pillars be as flawed as the whispered rumors suggest? "Dad, what are we going to do?" Jacob's question trembles with fear and desperation. Elon meets his son's eyes, resolve settling on his face like armor. "We protect our family," he declares. "We handle Smitty before he can publish more. And we ensure that Malone's mistakes stay buried. No leaks, no loose ends." Jacob nods, though dread churns in his gut. He has idolized his father's unwavering moral compass. Now that compass points towards self-preservation at any cost. As father and son steel themselves for the battles to come, the journalist Smitty Smith pores over dusty archives in a secluded booth at the county library. His eyes dart between old coroner's reports, redacted police memos, and the tattered diary of Martin Richardson. Each page yields fragments of a narrative too jagged to fit within the neat headlines of the daily paper. There are mentions of off-the-book payments, secret midnight meetings, and a brief reference to Vernon Dupree's name in a margin note. Smitty's pulse races. The deeper he digs, the more he realizes that the story he's pursuing could unravel not just Marcel Malone's standing, but the integrity of every figure who touched that case, including Sheriff Elon Hawthorne himself. But what Smitty doesn't yet know is how perilous this pursuit will become. In the darkness of the library stacks, shadowy figures observe through the tinted windows and an unmarked SUV idles nearby. The hunters may soon become the hunted. Meanwhile, in a sun-drenched cafe down the street, Danny Dupree stirs her coffee with a trembling hand. She has watched her brother Vernon's rise and fall, witnessed the dissolution of her own marriage, and survived the heartbreak of believing that love could be simple. When her friend Pamela Curtis joined her for lunch, Danny confessed her lingering fears of inadequate love, of illness revisiting her ex-husband Bill. The memory of Bill's pale visage in the hospital corridor still haunts her. The fear that she might lose him again terrifies her more than any courtroom battle. Bill Hamilton arrives, his steps hesitant. The curve of his smile warms Danny's chest, but she fights the urge to step forward. Instead, she invites him to sit, watching as he scans the cafe, unreachable as if the sunlight itself might prove too much. They speak quietly of the latest council meeting, of Vernon's questionable activities, and of Smitty's relentless probing. Danny senses Bill's concern for Naomi, and she cannot help but resent the unseen barrier between them. She wonders if her own longing, a flame that refuses to be extinguished, blinds her to Bill's loyalty to his new wife. As Bill speaks of his gratitude for Danny's unwavering support during his health scare, Danny's defenses crumble. He praises her tenacity, her unflinching belief in him, and the sacrifice she made to stand by his side. Danny drinks in each word, her heart swelling with a desperate hope that perhaps they could reclaim what they once had. In a moment of reckless abandon spurred by the memory of their last intimate conversation, Danny leans forward and presses her lips against Bill's. Time seems to stop. The cafe's chatter fades into the background, the clink of cups silenced by the thunder in her ears. Bill freezes, shock and guilt warring on his face. He gently but firmly steps back, hands raised as if to shield himself from his own desires. "Danny," he breathes, we can't." Danny's heart splinters at his words. She had thought this moment would heal old wounds, but instead it rips them open. She watches him rise, place money on the table, and walk out into the bright afternoon, leaving her alone with her regret and the bitter taste of what could have been. In the hush that follows, Danny closes her eyes, recalling how fear and longing have waged war in her soul. She understands now, more than ever, that passion without trust is a blade that will cut both hands. Yet in that moment of reckless vulnerability, she glimpsed the possibility of second chances, a hope she fears she may never fully let go. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across the town's streets, the players in this unfolding drama retreat to their corners, each bearing wounds both fresh and festering. Kat and Tomas lie entwined in a delirium of newfound intimacy, yet Kat knows that the evidence she stole still sits in Eva's safe, ticking like a time bomb. Jacob and Elon steel themselves against Smitty's relentless pursuit, unaware that their secrets may already be cracking at the seams. Danny sits alone, haunted by her own impulsive betrayal, treading the fragile line between courage and despair. The night deepens, and the quiet is only skin-deep. Beyond the gates of complacency, destinies collide, alliances will be tested, and the truth once revealed will demand a reckoning none of them can escape. The dawn light creeps through drawn curtains, unveiling a world irrevocably changed. In the softly lit suite where Tomas and Kat surrendered to the long-withheld whispers of their hearts, sleep now eludes both. Tomas lies on his back, eyes open, fingers tracing patterns on the crisp white sheets. He recalls, in vivid brushstrokes, every shiver that passed through Kat when their lips met, the tremor in her voice as she whispered his name. A smile flits across his lips. This is the future he has waited for. Yet even as warmth spreads through his chest, a shadow hovers at the edge of his thoughts. Eva's discovery of Kat's theft, Smitty's relentless investigation, and the fragile line their newfound happiness treads. Kat sits on the edge of the bed, shoulders hunched, gaze fixed on the envelope clenched in her palm. Inside are the photographs she filched from Eva's safe, grainy security cam stills of Eva meeting with a lawyer late one night, snippets of the stolen police report on Laura Peterson's disappearance, Kat's own scrawled notes tying Catherine Richardson's family to a network of unexplained cover-ups. Though these documents were meant to protect Tomas from reprisal, they now feel like a noose around her throat. Every rustle in the hallway sends her heart racing. She is plunged into this without a plan for what comes next. Tomas rises, crossing to her side. He slides the envelope from her grasp and sets it on the nightstand. "We'll decide together," he says, voice gentle yet firm. His reassurance steadies her, and for a moment, they share a fragile peace. But both know the truce with secrecy cannot last. Sooner or later, Eva will notice what's missing, Smitty will publish the next bombshell, and their world will ignite. Across town, Jacob Hawthorne races down narrow streets toward the precinct, chest pounding with both dread and resolve. Overnight, Smitty's second exposé went live, an incendiary headline accusing Detective Malone of manipulating evidence in Martin Richardson's case and hinting at official complicity by Sheriff Hawthorne. The article references a trusted informant and promises names in its next installment. Jacob skids to a halt outside Elon's office, adrenaline fueling his knock on the heavy door. Inside, Elon pores over a dossier, Smitty's printed revelations, scrawlings in the margins. His face is a mask of controlled fury. "They've outed Vernon Dupree as the alleged mastermind," Elon mutters. "And they imply I authorized hush payments." Jacob's fists clench. "How did they get that?" Elon runs a hand through his graying hair. "I don't know Malone's notebooks, I suspect. He kept handwritten logs of every off-the-books transaction. Our deal with Dupree, the money trail, it was naive to think it'd stay buried." Jacob swallows hard. "We need to contain this," he says. Elon's gaze settles on his son. "Containment is for spills in a glass. This is a flood. We have two options: discredit Smitty or come clean." Jacob's heart lurches. If we discredit him, more lies. If we confess, everything blows up. Elon's next words land like iron. "We remember why we made that agreement. To spare Naomi, to preserve the town's faith in justice. I chose a lie for the greater good. Now I must defend it." Meanwhile, in Naomi's cafe, the morning rush feels muted. Naomi Hawthorne moves between tables, refilling coffee cups with a practiced grace, but her smile doesn't reach her eyes. She's heard the rumors gleaned from hushed conversations and the thinly veiled whispers of regulars. When Bill Hamilton slips in, Naomi's heart flutters with relief, yet she senses the tension coiled beneath his usual calm politeness. They sit in a corner booth. Bill's gaze drops to his coffee before he speaks. "Naomi, there's trouble." His voice trembles. She places a hand over his. "What is it?" He hesitates, glancing toward the entrance as if afraid to speak too loudly. "It's Smitty's latest article. He's naming you, suggesting you helped conceal evidence." Naomi's breath hitches. "Me? Why?" Bill meets her eyes. "Your name came up in Malone's notebook annotations, linking you to the hush payments. He thought you got along to protect us." Naomi's knees weaken. She grips the edge of the table. You mean they suspect me of colluding in Martin Richardson's disappearance? Phil nods, guilt shadowing his face. I try to shield you, but her mind races. Her eldest son Jacob, her husband Elon, the trust she placed in them all shattered by Smitty's pen. At noon, Smitty Smith sits before a recording device in the cafe's back room, poring over the notebook photocopies. He adjusts his glasses, voice steady as he prepares his next segment. Tomorrow, I'll reveal the identities of all involved in the Richardson cover-up, including a local councilman's wife and the sheriff himself. He clicks the recorder off and exits, unaware of the figure watching through the cracked door. Vernon Dupree, sleek and inscrutable, steps away from the shadows, phone pressed to his ear. They're moving too quickly, he whispers. Leak the footage. If Malone's notes threaten me, we'll drag everyone down. Across the cafe's polished wood floor, Danny Dupree pauses mid-step, coffee cup trembling in her hand. The world tilts as she realizes how deep her brother's conspiracy goes. Her heart pounds, betrayal, fear, and the burning question of her own loyalty swirl within her. That evening, the Navarro estate is tense under gathering clouds. Tomas arrives first, finding Kat on the veranda overlooking the manicured gardens. She holds a sheet of paper Eva's letter, accusing her of theft and promising retribution. Kat's voice shakes as she reads Eva's threats: public humiliation, legal action, a demand for retraction under penalty of scandal. Tomas takes the letter, tossing it aside. We decide our narrative, he declares. They retreat inside to strategize. Kat will leak a false trail evidence suggesting the documents were planted by malicious third parties. Tomas will leverage his contacts in law enforcement to quietly discredit the story. It is a gamble that could backfire spectacularly, yet they share a fierce determination. Their love and reputations are inseparable. Across the town hall, Jacob enters the council chambers, where Bill Hamilton occupies the speaker's podium. A special session has been convened literally to address the turmoil unleashed by Smitty's reporting. The chamber buzzes with town officials, reporters, and curious citizens. Naomi sits a few rows back, eyes rimmed red. Elon stands beside her, uniform impeccable but expression stiff. Bill clears his throat. Fellow citizens, he begins, voice wavering but resolute, I stand before you accountable for my role in delaying the Martin Richardson investigation. I believed I acted to protect the integrity of your offices and my family. That belief was misguided, rooted in fear of chaos rather than pursuit of truth. A gasp ripples through the room. Smitty sits near the back, recorder and camera poised. Elon steps forward. As sheriff, I concur with Mr. Hamilton's statement. I concealed records of payments made to Vernon Dupree, payments intended to secure silence, to prevent further pain. I apologize for that deception. I vow to fully cooperate with any inquiry. Jacob winces as murmurs rise. Naomi, tears streaming, stands beside them, finding her voice only when all eyes turn. I was aware of these actions, and I accept my share of responsibility. Her confession is brief, but seismic, a community pillar crumbling before their eyes. As the session dissolves into chaos, journalists clamoring for interviews, council members shouting for accountability, Vernon Dupree slips into the shadows. In his hand, a memory stick containing video footage of high-level negotiations, Elon handing cash to an unmarked courier, Naomi signing discreet receipts. It is the injustice he craves and the one weapon he holds that could bring the Hawthorns to ruin. Meanwhile, in a cramped editing bay, Smitty Smith loads the footage onto his system. His finger hovers over publish, conscience warring with ambition. He remembers Danny's face at the Kafer horror ran for a moment, hesitates. But the principles that drove him to expose the Richardson cover-up now demand no mercy. The public has a right to know. He clicks share. That night, the Navarro estate's grounds are quiet, too quiet. Tomas and Kat sit by the fire pit, nursing glasses of wine, whispering strategies to weather the storm. Kat leans into Tomas's shoulder, vulnerability laid bare. "I never imagined love could feel like both salvation and peril," she confesses. Tomas brushes a strand of hair from her face. "Whatever comes, we face it together." At the Hawthorne home, Jacob prowls the living room, phone pressed to his ear. "Dad, have you seen the video?" He stops, as if bracing himself. "They posted it online uncut. Naomi resigns, mom's under attack, and they want you suspended." Elon closes his eyes, chest heaving. "I'm going in tomorrow. I'll face whatever comes." Jacob's shoulders slump. I don't know how to keep believing." In a quiet corner of the hospital where Bill checks in for a routine follow-up, Danny waits by the coffee cart, heart pounding. When he appears, his uniform crisp, but his face pale, Danny steps forward. "Bill, please," he places a hand on her shoulder. "I'm glad you're here." Her heart softens. Despite her heartbreak, a flicker of hope remains. He sighs. "I'm resigning from council. Naomi and we need time to heal. I don't know if that includes you." Danny's breath catches. "I understand." He smiles sadly. They both know this crisis may forge new beginnings or destroy the fragile trust between them entirely. As the night deepens, small-town fate unfolds in unpredictable arcs. Tomas and Kat prepare to reveal their side of the story, a carefully orchestrated press conference that will challenge Eva's narrative and appeal to public sympathy. Elon and Naomi brace for inquiries from state investigators, while Jacob contemplates a future where the badge he so admired hangs tainted. Bill and Danny stand at the crossroads between past passion and present loyalties. Smitty, at his desk, watches the view count rise on the video that could topple empires, simultaneously gratified and burdened by the consequences of truth. Under the wavering lamplight of midnight, each character faces the shape of their tomorrow. Will love survive scandal? Will justice find forgiveness? And will the gates they so fiercely protected open to redemption or slam shut forever? The next day promises revelations that no one can yet imagine, but by then, the choices they've made will have set their destinies in motion and nothing will ever be the same.